Hey, this is Rick Brandenburg for Turf Bugs and Rock and Roll. And this summer, I got asked on several occasions a really, really good question. And I'll just state the way one person phrased the question. And it was that, I used to rely very heavily upon university recommendations. And one day I went to a field day and saw just how much the companies sponsor that field day. And it makes me a little suspicious about the results and the data that come from the university trials. And you know what? I get that. When I was a little boy, my uncle used to deliver fuel oil and diesel to farmers. And he told me the story one time where he went and visited a guy at a dairy farm to provide some diesel fuel to him. And the guy just bought a new milking machine. And he asked him how he liked it. And he said, "I don't like it at all. I'm really disappointed in it." And since I grew up in Indiana, Purdue was the big ag school. He said, "My guess is I end up with the machine that came highly recommended because that's the company that gave Purdue the most money." And it's been a long time since I was 12, but I've never ever forgotten that story. And I know when I was working on my PhD, my advisor told me, he said, as a scientist, all you really have is your credibility. And if you compromise that, your career as a scientist is basically over. And that's true. So what does that mean in our trials? Do agrochemicals they do give us a ton of money? No experience for about 40 years is that the funding that they give us to conduct, say, a mole cricket trial, a white grub trial, fall armorworm trial, or whatever, does not cover all of the costs associated with that. It's to help supplement it. We don't funds as university faculty from the university or from the we have to come up with that funding on our own. And the companies will subsidize and help reduce the cost because you've got technician salaries, student salaries, you've got trucks, you've got vehicles, you've got equipment, you got all that. And so there is a cost associated with running these trials, and universities typically give us what is an unrestricted gift that we can use in our program to help cover some of the costs. And it's pretty consistent. They give us an amount per treatment. Rarely is there huge vast difference between what one company gives us and another on a per treatment basis. So that is a reality of the world we live in. So how can you be confident that, say, if we recommend product A, that we don't rank it higher because the company for product A gave us more money than the company from product B, which we rank in second place? And again, I understand why you would ask that question. There are a number of reasons, just along with the idea that we don't get a ton of money, that we get support or supplemental money to help us do these trials. The other is that companies, the last thing they would want is to have a product that's highly recommended by people at the university, and then it gets out on when the rubber hits the road and it doesn't work at all. That's a disaster for the company when they do that. So companies want accurate testing. They want honest appraisals. They want testing that has integrity. And they hate it when we get a trial that gets washed out with too much water or too much drought, and the data we really can't have a lot of confidence in, because they want to have a lot of confidence as they develop marketing strategies and they develop protocols for this product to get in the marketplace. But the reality is, and let's go back old school when I worked with people like Dave Shetler and Dan Potter and Fred Baxendale and Pat Vitham and all these people that were my contemporaries back in the day, and we all did our own independent testing and we sent our reports in. We never once checked with each other and say, "Hey, what kind of results are you finding?" So if any one or two or three people were getting paid off, which seems to be a real thing that people like to say, it would come out because the other people would say, "Hey, these results don't match up with what I'm finding." So there really is a check and balance among all of us that do this sort of work. We always like to prove the other one wrong, so we're consistent, we're ethical in our work, and we put together good data packages and send it to the company, and they simply have to look at the results they get from over a variety of locations, from a variety of scientists, and pull it together and to develop their recommendations and their marketing strategy for the product. So there really are checks and balances. And I assure you, back in the day, Dave Shetler and Dan Potter and the like would do like nothing more than to prove me wrong with my trials. So there was a lot of accountability in this system. And the last thing you'd ever want to do because your career was over is for 6 or 8 scientists to say, you know, this work that Brandenburg does, it just, something strange is going on here, because that would essentially end your career and end your credibility. So I don't have a lot more to say about it than that, but I think the system has worked. Have there been people that have been bought out by industry? Maybe, I don't know. I don't personally know of one. But the credibility's there, and the scientists and the people that you work with, the accountability is certainly there. And even though we have these relationships with the companies want good data. The company don't want phony data that provides overblown results for their products, because then they will fail once the rubber hits the road. So I may come back and touch on this subject a little bit later this winter, but that's the message I want to get out there right now. Hope that helps. Look forward to talking with you again soon.